Okay, I am back from Japan. I've got a bit of a headache. I think I need to hydrate and eat something. Um, but I want to get back into the meal prep stuff, right? I don't have any meal prep to prep and show you. That's kind of the point of the show. So if you want to do me a solid and maybe buy a buddy a meal or cook a meal with someone or share a meal or share a recipe, that I'd appreciate that. Um, But we're on Proverbs 10, and we're on Proverbs because it's kind of like a martial arts for how to live in society. And it helps you navigate your life and any spiritual and physical dilemma that you may come across. So Proverbs 10, remember most of Proverbs is written by King Solomon, who is King David's son. And you know David from David and Goliath, right? He fought the giant. Okay. A wise son brings joy to his father, but a foolish son heartache to his mother. So again, we're seeing the importance of wisdom, that when we work in wisdom, you know, your mom doesn't have to worry about you, and your dad is proud of you because you're growing and doing great things and staying safe. And your father, who's kind of out in the world, gets to see everything you're producing, and your mom, who's running the household, doesn't have to worry about you. All right, verse 2. Ill-gotten gains do not profit anyone, but righteousness rescues from death. So when you're living your life as a criminal, as somebody who lives in contrast to society, no one really gets anything out of it. You're not helping anyone. But righteousness, just by being righteous, you can pull people out of despair. And I know I've done that a lot. I've had classes where people were really depressed or suicidal, and I'd look at them and say, hey, you're going to be okay. Like, some parts of life suck, but you're going to be okay. You have to accept that misery is part of life, but your efforts that you're working here, your efforts in your relationship and your job and getting out of, you know, maybe your parents have a real hostile way of living that you need to get out of, you'll be okay. Just keep working. Don't stop. This will all end. And in other ways too, I've been able to save people from self-harm because I point out how life works. I've pointed out how being possessed by God gives you power and eternal love. I've pointed out to other people that the reason that they're depressed is that they're actually not depressed. They just have this well for love, and they're putting themselves down and forgetting how important they are to the kingdom of heaven and to their friends and family. The Lord will not let the righteous go hungry, but he denies the wicked what they crave. So when you have a righteous life, God is on your side, and he's working with you to promote you into things that are good for you and great for society and the universe. But when you're wicked, when you're thinking about what can I do that's serves me and what can I do that I want to do, God's not going to work to give you your dreams, to help make your dreams come true. And that sucks, because we want you to have your dreams and to have your dreams come true, but you have to work with the center of reality, and that is God, who is love. Love is the center of reality, and love right here is saying, be true to wisdom and be true to righteousness, and this will move you forward. And this will be great for everybody. It's just, you need to move off the philosophy of I'm going to do what I want, and we need to move on to the philosophy of God, which is reinforced by reality as he dictates. Idle hands make one poor, but diligent hands bring riches. So if you just sit around all day being lazy and lethargic, you're not going to get anywhere. But being diligent brings riches. So it's not saying you have to do necessarily what you're told, because sometimes parents can get too pushy on your destiny, but you need to work at your dreams and work at your calling or work at your career, and you'll get riches there, which will help promote your life and help promote other people's life, because the righteous pulls people out of death. The son who gathers during summer is prudent. The son who sleeps during harvest is disgraceful. So during summer, right, you're working your crops, you're working your calling, you're working your working on making your dreams come true. So it's saying in your downtime, be diligent. But again, if you're going to be lethargic, if you're just going to waste time, you're wasting opportunity, and you're wasting opportunity that your parents have provided by doing a lot of work ahead of time and providing for you. I saw this happen when I went to college a lot. People would party and waste money that their parents had saved for them to get a good education. I asked one girl, why aren't your parents paying for your school? Why did they stop? And she said, oh, I partied and failed all my classes. It's like, whoa, wow. I had other friends who had full scholarships to really good colleges in Texas. And I said, well, what happened? And they said, well, people invite you to parties. You can't just say no. I said, yes, you can. You tell them I have homework. You tell them I'll see you next time. I had a really good roommate. He'd say, hey, let's play some video games. And I'd say, I have homework to do. And he said, oh, never mind. You go do your homework. Blessings are on the head of the righteous, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. And we see this a lot. So righteous people are consistently righteous. So you're always doing good things, and you're always trying to do good things, and God will reinforce that. He'll give you blessings, he'll work and promote you, and these blessings transfer onto your children, and now you're building a legacy, and now your bloodline will promote the kingdom of God in very rich and big ways. The mouth of the wicked conceals violence. And we're starting to see that a lot on college campuses, where when good-hearted Christian people disagree with chaotic anarchy or chaotic temper tantrums, we see a lot of people resort to violence, throwing drinks, spitting, shouting, throwing temper tantrums when they can't formulate a counterpoint that serves them. They end up acting like toddlers. And so this is what the Bible's talking about. These conversations show the heart of who they're talking to, and when this is brought to light, just destruction comes out. And you can see this on a lot of videos online. The remembrance of the righteous is a blessing, but the name of the wicked will rot. So even post-death, when we go to heaven, people here on earth will still remember us because we served humanity, because we served our friends, because we served our families, because we worked great things for humanity. And then the counterpoint is, the name of the wicked will rot. It'll serve as like a lesson, don't be like that. So we don't want to be wicked. We want to be righteous. And all you have to do, if you're struggling, is just keep moving towards God and don't give up. That's really the big thing, is you can't give up, because you've trained yourself to give up. A wise heart accepts commands, but foolish lips will be destroyed. Okay. A wise heart accepts commands, but foolish lips will be destroyed. So a wise heart can listen and learn very well, but foolish lips will be destroyed. But people who talk nonsense are going to lose the argument. And so a wise heart understands what's going on, can receive instruction, and then act accordingly, knowing that this is like part of a process. But foolish lips, it's kind of the person who all they do is gossip or talk or defame, and they're not going to get anywhere, and they're just going to fall to their own folly. The one who lives with integrity lives surely, but whoever perverts his ways will be found out. So when you live with integrity, when you live with a good conscience, when you live with moral value and you hold true to that moral value, you live in a righteous way, you don't sway easily. So I've had friends who say, "Hey, do you want to go rolling with us?" And I said, "What's rolling?" And they said, "Oh, do you want to go do some pills? Do you want to do some drugs with us?" And I said, "No." And it's this kind of attitude that keeps me out of trouble. I've had friends who say, "Hey, the bar's closing. Do you want to have some drinks before you drive home?" And I'll say, "No." And this keeps me safe. This keeps me out of trouble. This keeps my money in my own pocket. Can you imagine if I got pulled over for drinking and driving? I'd lose my license. I would have a hard time getting to work. That would cost me money because I'd have to get rides, and just everything would be a mess. And so living with integrity protects you, and it protects those who also depend on you. But whoever perverts his ways will be found out. And so when you work towards a perverted lifestyle, you're not going to be able to keep that a secret. Eventually people will find out, and your reputation will be ruined. You can have harder times with relationships or with job advancement where integrity matters. So do you see how righteousness and wisdom and the philosophy of Christ in heaven help reinforce your reality and protect you from just doing stupid things? Okay. Hatred stirs up conflicts, but love covers all offenses. And so when I was a bouncer, I knew this. People would drink and they get really hot-headed and they'd want to fight and fight and fight. But I would just say, "Hey man, look, I love you. Like, relax. Like, it's okay. Come back tomorrow when you're sober. I'll let you in. You've had too much to drink." And so this really does work. People try to thug up and get past me, like, "Hey man, look, I love you. You're not 21. Come back when you're 21. I'll let you in, and I'll even buy you a drink for your birthday." Like, "Oh, okay." And so being a loving person really stopped that. I remember one time someone was punching me in class, like punching me really hard, but I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to get suspended. I wanted to play video games, which meant I didn't want to get grounded. And so he's punching me in the back, and I said, oh, and I moved my back a little bit. Right there. That's a spot. And he hit me a few more times. Right there. And then he stopped and he just laughed. He's like, "Oh man, you're weird." And I'm like, "Yeah, a little bit." But he never bullied me again. So I got rid of the bully situation without having to thug up and fight him. And so in a way, everyone won. No one got in trouble. I got to play video games that weekend. It was good. Wisdom is found on the lips of the discerning, but a rod for the back of the one who lacks sense. So discerning is a good quality. Discerning is like the ability to tell what's from what. You can tell just what information goes where. It means you're discerning is a quality that helps you move through life with elegance. But if you lack sense, so if you travel in God's ways and the philosophies of God, you get integrity, you work with righteousness, you work with wisdom, you become discerning. But if you work in ways that are contradictory to God's, contradictory to what you know is right in your heart, you're just going to get beaten up by life. You're going to lose, if you lose money to prostitutes, that's money you don't have for food and bills and savings to build your dreams. If you lose your sense and your drinking and driving, you're eventually going to lose money and time and credibility, and now you might have a hard time getting a job later. And if you're a fool who drinks a lot and does foolish things, you're not going to work on advancing your dreams or advancing your career, making better money, doing things with your life that form, relationships. I remember one time I was, I had a shift as a bouncer, and someone said, "Oh, Josh, what did you do all week?" And I said, "Oh, I spent like 5 hours doing all these photo shoots with all these beautiful women." And he said, "Wow, all I did was smoke weed. I need to hang out with you. You do a lot of cool stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And so that's something wisdom kind of teaches you, is like, do you want to work on your dreams, or do you just kind of want to lie around and do nothing? The wise store up knowledge, but the mouth of the fool hastens destruction. So I'm really big on wisdom. So what does storing up knowledge mean for me? I'm kind of always collecting good sense and things that help people out. What jobs are hiring, how to move through college really well, how to have good relationships, how to keep your marriages strong when it seems like they might be falling apart. But the mouth of the fool, so fools are dangerous because they can sound smart. And it's saying, don't listen to fools because they're just destroying themselves. The fool says, "Oh, why study? You'll be okay." And then they aren't. They fail. Yeah. Like, you see people playing video games when they should be at least studying for their tests. And then what's bad isn't just that they're going to fail these expensive $1,000 classes. It's that they'll encourage their friends to do the same thing. And that's when things get really foolish. Which one was that? That was 14. The wealth of the rich is his fortified city. The poverty of the poor is their destruction. So the rich, right? So now we have people who are wise, full of integrity and righteous, and this becomes richness. And in other parts of the Bible, it says having a savings, having wealth protects you against many things. You get into a car accident, you fix your car. You want to take a vacation, you have the money to do so. You come into a problem where you need to put up your friend for like a month, you've got food to feed him. There's a lot of options you have when you live your life diligently and live with your money diligently. Yeah, I had a friend who said, I was talking about how I want kids, and he says, "Well, just start having sex with a bunch of women." And I said, "No, I want to have sex with my wife, have kids with my wife." And he goes, "God will work it out." It's like, no, this is foolish, man. I want to be a one-woman man. I want my wife. I don't want to be a playboy. The reward of the righteous is life. The wages of the wicked is punishment. So it's just trying to re-stamp it. It wants to stamp it 3 different times. No matter where you are in life, to live righteously, life is going to come at you. Life in all of its fruitfulness. Because remember, in the beginning, The Garden of Eden is the tree of life and the tree of death. It's called the tree of knowledge of good and evil because Adam didn't understand death. He had no concept of it because we were supposed to live forever on earth. But we ruined that, and now we get to live forever on earth 2, which is, God's heaven. God brought everlasting life back on heaven, not on earth. The wages of the wicked is punishment. So being wicked will always set you back. It'll always break apart what you're trying to promote in your life. So you need to always move towards righteousness, even when popular culture tells you, it's okay to cheat. And I saw this when I was in college. When I was in high school, girls would bully men for being cheaters. They'd be like, "Oh, you're cheating. That's scum. You should never cheat, you dog." And then I'm in college, and I'm listening to these girls say, "Oh yeah, I cheat whenever I can. I gotta get it when I can." I said, "What? But this is crazy. You shouldn't talk like that. You shouldn't be bragging about cheating. That's awful, man. No." The one who follows instruction on the path to life. Oh, the one who follows instruction is on the path to life, but the one who rejects correction goes astray. So this is talking about good instruction, not stupid instruction, like instruction from the Bible, delivered by competent teachers, because there's some idiots who teach the Bible and they teach it poorly. I'm not talking about them. And then also, there are good parents out there. You want to follow them. Good teachers, good leaders. I'm not talking about following stupid parents or dumb teachers. But the one who rejects correction goes astray. So correction is from somebody who's smart or has good instruction. I've had to correct my friends before, say hey, pornography is cheating. You can't be watching pornography. You need to spend time with your wife or work your wife forward. You don't chase people who obviously don't love you. Don't give your body away for free. Work towards having a husband, work towards having a life. If you can't go and have several sexual partners and then be upset that you're not getting married, go hunt yourself a spouse instead of being a playboy or playgirl. Find your happily ever after, or don't go after your happily ever after and then be promiscuous and then wonder why you're not getting your fairy tale ending. The one who conceals hatred has lying lips, and whoever spreads slander is a fool. So there are people out there who have hate in their heart, and because they have hate in their heart, what they talk about will never really matter, because at their core they're full of hate. I always tell people, I always feel bad for people who have hatred in their hearts, because even when they try to give advice, it's not helpful, because their personality needs to be brought to a better place by working with Christ, by working with heaven. If you constantly install and feed your hatred, you're not going to get anywhere good. And the way you work with your life, by talking, the way that you work with spirituality, through your lips, right? Because the soul works through the lips, right? Because the word soul comes from the word breath. How did God make the universe? He spoke. What is the sword of the Spirit? The word of God. What is Jesus? The word made flesh, right? So we work spiritually through prayer. We work in society and civilization and communion through talking. And the person with hatred in their heart isn't going to be doing anything great with that. Whoever spreads slander is a fool. So it says in the Bible, gossip is basically demonic, and this kind of goes along with that. Somebody who goes around slandering is not someone you want to follow. It's not someone good. It's not someone who's got control. They're a fool, and even though they sound smart, they're taking you towards destruction, and you don't want to follow them. You want to work on your philosophical competency. When there are many words, sin is unavoidable, but the one who controls his lips is prudent. So beware of people who make a lot of excuses and just blather, because they don't have self-control and they're not going anywhere good. They're just making a bunch of excuses. And everyone's kind of run into that. Like, hey, you should get your life under control. Oh, my life's just good. I'm going to party right now. And then when I turn 40, I'll think about getting married and having kids. And it's like, I had to tell some people, okay, well, all the guys who want to get married are trying to get married right now. And so most of them are going to be successful. So when you turn 40, you're going to be around the guys who wanted to get married are going to be gone, being married and living great lives. Instead, you should figure out what your ultimate goals are and then work towards those. Because you can marry men who have a great soul for adventure and going out and being productive, hiking, bike riding. But you're talking about just pleasing your body and having carnal pleasure. That doesn't promote life. That just spends time. Like, there's a lot of great ways to have life. And if the only way you think you can have it is by partying and sexual pleasure, you're not thinking long term, and you're not thinking spiritually. You haven't even talked to God about what sort of plans He's built you to have, He wants you to have, and He will pour out riches for your dreams and finances too as you move along and have them. You're just thinking about right now, and it's not even good pleasure. It's pleasure that everyone else is telling you that you want. You haven't even thought about whether or not you want it compared to your future self. So you need to think about where you're going, not just about what you're getting. So the one who controls his lips. So obviously it's saying the person who has self-control and thinks is prudent. So they're going to have good things to say that are impactful and important. The tongue of the righteous is pure silver. That's cool. The heart of the wicked is of little value. So again, we're constantly seeing by being righteous, by following the philosophy of God, by being good, by having integrity, it pays off. It pays off. It pays off in this way, it pays off in that way, it pays off here, it pays off there. It promotes wealth, it promotes society. It allows you to control your words. It allows you to help with your spirituality. It helps bring joy to your family. It helps rescue people from death. And having no self-control and doing whatever you want does not help and promotes stupidity, and nobody's going to remember your name. And you're just going to help hurt people, and you're not going to bring anyone anywhere great. And it's going to be destructive, and you're going to be poor, and it's not going to help. And so we kind of see the two vortexes of the universe. We see this vortex where everything goes great, and the vortex where everything goes wrong. And so wisdom brings integrity and righteousness and creates this solid structure that promotes riches and greatness and productivity, and the other one breaks things down and makes things miserable and hurts your future and hurts your friends and hurts your life and hurts society. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for lack of sense. And we've seen this too. We've seen people spend all their money on drugs and not take promotions. And I've met girls at work who As soon as they got hired, they started heading for those promotions, and then 2 years later, they've doubled their pay. And it's like, wow. I knew a girl at Blizzard Entertainment. She taught herself 3D art, so we got hired together, and then 2 months later, she doubled her pay and got 4 employees under her. And it's like, wow. Took her 2 years, didn't go to college, taught herself, bam. But fools die for lack of sense. So not only do they go anywhere, they just burn out because they're not doing things that coincide with how reality and the universe was built by heaven. It's the same story over and over. Be wise. Have a structure of righteousness. Be full of integrity. And this will just produce everything you want in life. And you're going to sacrifice. You don't get to be a playboy. You don't get to be a playgirl. You don't get to steal. But it's going to make your life awesome. You're going to get you're going to get a lot of everything instead of some things you were never meant to have. And I know that that's hard for people. I really do. I know when you have barely anything in your life, you don't want to give it up. But if you can turn that part over, I promise it's worth it. Because suddenly you start praying for everything, and you start getting new friends and, new female friends. And those new female friends are going to introduce you to someone who could be your future wife or your future husband, and things go great. So we need you, your Christian family needs you to care about yourself so we can bring you in and support you and show you love and show you how to get everything that's part of your destiny. The Lord's blessing enriches. How long is this chapter? The Lord's blessing enriches, and he adds no painful effort to it. So it's very easy. God already has mannerisms to bless and enrich as you live a life of valor, of righteousness, of care, of control, of love. He'll give you a blessing and give you blessing and give you blessing, and it's not a problem for him because he's like, yeah, this is how I meant for you to live. And he gives it out without you having to do anything too. Just continue to be diligent. Right, verse 23. As shameful conduct is pleasure for a fool, so wisdom is for a person of understanding. So people will tell me, oh, I like being a playboy. I like watching porn. And they're like, yeah, this is really great. And I'll say, no, it isn't. So for example, I had my friend lock the internet on my phone. So that way I won't have easy access to pornography. So whenever I'm feeling a little bit stupid, it's hard for me to get to it. And so I can focus on the stupid, and then I stop being stupid, and then woo, okay, good. I didn't waste my time acting a fool. And other people will say, why'd you do that? What's wrong with it's okay to watch pornography. And I'll say, no, dude, my grades went up 1.5 letters. I get 8 hours of sleep. And all these guys were looked at me and said, whoa, I should lock my phone too. I thought they were going to make fun of me. And they're like, no, man, good for you. Wow, good for you. Wow, 1.5 letters and 8 hours of sleep a night. And you're working 40 hours a week and going to school full time? Yep. Wow. Yeah. So wisdom is for a person of understanding. So, it works. What the wicked dreads will come to him. So because you're not safe from anything when you're wicked, there's a lot of destruction that's going to circle you because you're going out and doing what's wrong when you know you shouldn't. Because there are people who get stuck in wickedness incidentally. They were never taught what's good. They were never taught righteousness. And this goes back to it. Your children will have a harder time in life if you live a wicked life, but they'll have a better time of life if you choose wisdom and install within them wisdom and understanding. But what the righteous desire will be given to them. And so no matter what, the consequences of reality are very real, even when we don't want them to be. You can fall into them no matter what, and we don't want to fall into them. But what the righteous desire will be given to them. So either by their works, because they've established relationships, they've established their wealth, they've established connections with good and great people. And then heaven wants to reward them. Heaven wants to work with them. Heaven wants to support them. And so things work in their favor because they're also working with how reality is built. How reality is built to reinforce righteous, wise, and integrity-driven behavior, right? So I'm telling you, if you're someone who's into spirituality, I'm telling you how the spirituality of the universe works. I'm giving you the secret spiritual keys to the universe. Like, this is the spiritual greatness that you've been looking for. Like, people who are into magic or the occult or even Satanism, this is the keys to the universe. This is what you've been looking for the whole time. You just may never have been exposed to it until now. I can't believe we're at 35 minutes for one chapter. When the whirlwind passes, the wicked are no more, but the righteous are secure forever. It's kind of like the story of the three little pigs. One built his house out of bricks, and the wolf huffed and puffed, but couldn't blow his house down. We're secure because, like, I didn't drink and drive, so I am secure. Because I don't waste my money on prostitution, I have money to make sure my car is always running well, so my car doesn't break down, so I don't have to spend extra money fixing my car. I can spend less money maintaining my car. And when there's whirlwinds, I also have strong bonds with my friends to help me. Like, even right now, I'm living with my friend. He only charges me $600 a month, which is not a lot of money in today's age. But when you're wicked and you're throwing your money away and you're not showing up to work, I know a lot of people who do that. They hardly show up to work. They're this close to always being fired. And I'm like, okay. And then, you get one flat tire and that's it. Like vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so the slacker is to the one who sends him on an errand. So if you're a slacker, no one even wants to deal with you because you're such a problem. You don't get things done. You're not dependable. So no one even wants to keep you around or help you. So again, we're seeing the same kind of prophetic reasoning put in several different ways. We're seeing why righteousness works, how it's dependable, when it's dependable. The same with wisdom, the same with integrity, and then the same with foolishness, with being a slacker, with being wicked, with choosing death or choosing life. You choose life and everything constantly grows and is made better than before. You choose death and everything can fall apart at any moment. And not only that, you're kind of helping things to fall apart at every moment. The fear of the Lord prolongs life, but the years of the wicked are cut short. So when you fear the Lord or respect his awesomeness, you're going to do things that are smart. You're going to eat healthy food. You're going to make decisions that don't hurt you, but bring protection and stability. But if you're wicked, you're going to do stupid things. I know people that drink and drive. I've known people who do dumb things and then just everything gets ruined all the time. And it's like, man, like, we told you don't do that. I had a friend who wanted a good marriage, and I said, hey, you got to stop watching porn. And he said, well, porn's the only thing that turns me on. It's like, yeah, because pornography is evil. Like, to lust after someone who isn't your spouse is in contradiction to the spiritual details that God created the universe with. The spiritual engine of the universe does not permit lusting after someone who isn't your spouse. So when you move that direction, you contradict the spiritual power of the universe, and you end up stuck in nonsense. So you're stuck in a world of nonsense because you're doing something that's nonsense, and you're wondering why there's still nonsense. Stop watching porn. Your spiritual system will turn back on, and you'll lust after your wife. The hope of the righteous is joy, but the expectation of the wicked will perish. So the hope of the righteous is joy, but the expectation of the wicked will perish. So at the end of it all, even in our life, the hope, because what we do works, our hope gives us joy because we expect everything we do to work and work well, and we see that it does. So this life reinforces itself generation after generation, moment after moment. It reinforces itself going forward, and it works so well that we have joy just from hoping about life. The moment we get hope, we go, of course this is going to work, because we've seen it work, because we've moved in righteous ways, and we've learned how to work in life, and we've learned how to be productive and have payout. But the expectation of the wicked will perish. So the wicked who have the same expectations that, I want to do stuff that works, it perishes because they're not living righteously. They're doing whatever they want, getting into fights, doing drugs, breaking down their minds, breaking down their bodies, sacrificing their futures by being playboys and playgirls and being promiscuous. And nothing happens because they're not trying to work with the direction of the universe that is made by God when he set up the universe and gave it spiritual rules and boundaries, as well as physical, scientific ones. The way of the Lord is a stronghold for the honorable, but destruction awaits evildoers. So what have I been saying? The way of the Lord. So God is now putting everything, or Solomon, who's talking about how heaven works, because he felt that wisdom was good architecture for society and future generations. The way of the Lord is a stronghold for the honorable, but destruction awaits evildoers. The way of the Lord is a stronghold for the honorable, but destruction awaits evildoers. So you are protected by God's philosophy, by God's spiritual, social, martial art, as I like to say, the kung fu of the universe, of the spirit realm. But destruction awaits evildoers. And evildoers are just going to be thrown away like dust to the wind, and it's not going to last. Don't be evil, be righteous. Reinforce yourself. Move towards God. Suck it up. There's some things you're not going to get in life. That's okay. You're going to get everything else. God's going to give you everything he can that goes along with how he designed everything. I'm losing my voice. 43 minutes. The righteous will never be shaken, but the wicked will not remain on the earth. So not only that, not only is his stronghold so strong, because we've been doing this so well, we understand how to get past bad events. We know how to strengthen ourselves and work towards us for ourselves, and come together and pray and work with heaven and get rid of disasters and catastrophes and huddle up and be secure. But the wicked just fall apart, fall to pieces. They can't get anywhere they want to. And God is going to protect his righteous in addition to that, and let the wicked be thrown out like dust to the wind. The mouth of the righteous produces wisdom. So now we're coming full circle. So not only that, you're going to produce new wisdoms and reinforce wisdom and plant wisdom. So like you've done all these great things in your life, and now it's going to plant more and have a bigger crop. But a perverse tongue will cut it out. So we have to be careful Because perverted people will work against wisdom, and we have to be careful and protect against that. You have to guard your heart and guard your mind and make sure you know wise things. So when foolish people try to pervert you, you can be like, no. And I've had that happen. I've had people who say like, hey, do you want to help me start a pornography company? And I said, no, because I've seen where that leads. And the people who do not end up happy or capable of happiness. Euphoria, yes. Happiness, joy, not so much. The lips of the righteous know what is appropriate, but the mouth of the wicked only what is perverse. So at the end of it all, as you travel down the path of the righteous, you're going to have great competency with what's appropriate and true. But wicked people, the more they go down that and the more they're successfully wicked, the more they only know what is perverted and wrong. I love you guys. I would normally do my fantasy voice, but that was 45 minutes of talking, and I'm losing my voice. I need to take a break. I love you all.